Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
This is our YouTube channel. Subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like.
Check out the podcast also below in the description.
All right, Middlecoff. This is the only win the Raiders get this week is to actually win the game. This is one of those you get no extra credit. You know what I do think though, looking at Raiders Jets where the line is now 9, is I would like to see them I'd like to see them demolish the Jets the way many teams have. You don't get extra credit for that, but it would give me just a little bit of confidence, like, maybe they just get a little bit of mojo because what they've got coming up in terms of schedule is it's really important.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even muster the words must win. I mean, you're playing the Jets. They're in their own category. If you don't win, your season failed. Like, if you were to lose this game, it would fail. I don't think you're going to lose, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that. I think the Jets are one of the worst teams. I think they're worse than that Cleveland team several years. I just think they're awful. It doesn't get any worse. But I think here's the problem. Derek really anointed himself. He was having this good season. And I even when I watched him, like, it's pretty solid, but I'm not going to be like he's some top 10 quarterback. Then he has the game against Kansas City, and it's kind of inarguable. Like, okay, maybe he really was building up. He was like a fighter, like spar. And then he got into the ring when it really mattered. It's like, oh, he's ready. So it was like, yeah, okay. We talked about right after the game. Guy makes $20 million. He's going to play like that. He's one of the best deals in like league history. And then he comes back and he has one of the worst games, the Raiders included, offensively of the last 2 decades. Literally. I mean, DVOA, Josh Dubow tweeted it out. And it was worse watching. I think we'd all agree. The next 3 weeks after this game, like, listen, no one ebbs and flows like Derek Carr. And I think part of that is just like, that's what happens when you're a little inconsistent. Like, that's used to what happened to Eli. But Eli always had, definitely after 07, like, I won a Super Bowl, and you could never say anything. And then even like 13, 14, 15, as it got weirder, he had 2 Super Bowls. So he's kind of untouchable. Derek really doesn't have any of that. So it's like, what's he going off this year? Well, against shittier teams, I just put up really good numbers. Okay, the playoff push is on. It's December. You got 5 games. And let's just really count 4 because this game, I can't. If you lose it, you're a bad team, right? You win this game. The next 3 weeks, Guy, Indianapolis, the best shitty team of all time, the Chargers, and the Dolphins. Like, that is a really hard stretch. Not hard, not even the right word. Just an important stretch for Derek Carr's career. Because to make the playoffs, obviously you got to win the Jets game. I think you have to win at least 2 or 3 of those games. When you just look at the numbers, like, you got to give yourself a chance to get to 10. Because I don't think you make the playoffs at 9.
And to not make the playoffs after starting 6-3, and to have it look the way it's looked, would be a failure, right? Obviously, losing the Jets would not make the season a failure. I mean, it would, but it would be more about like, what things are changing in your organization this offseason? If you lose to the Jets after you got beat 43-6 by the Falcons, things like bigger picture things would have to change. But yeah, I mean, here's what I would say about the Colts, Chargers, Dolphins. You have to go win all of those games. You don't, like, this week, you can do some dumb shit and you can still find a way to beat the Jets by 2 scores. That's not how it works against the Colts. It's not how it works again. The Chargers will make mistakes, but you got to go take it. The Dolphins, you got to go take it.
They play in really close games, the Chargers do.
And they're definitely capable of beating you. I mean, the last time you played them was a 5-point game.
Yeah.
So, now Denver, whatever. I got to give them 2 wins right now. But like you said, so what? So what if you have 8 wins? Is 9 going to get it done? Is 10
You feel confident they can win 4 of their next 5? Because that's what it takes to get to 10.
I am very confident that they have 2 more wins on it. Like, there are 2 guaranteed wins on the schedule right now, right?
So do you what's your confidence level that's double that?
Because
if they were to win 4 of their next 5, they would be playing pretty good football.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm over 65. I feel like 65%.
Like, if you said right now, you get $1,000 and you place it on 8-8, 9-7, 10-6, and if you get it right, you get $2,000 back. So it's a pretty good incentive. I would place that money on 9-7.
Well, I agree with you, but I also think that if I go team by team here, the Chargers and the Dolphins, I think the Raiders are a better football team than those two teams. Now, I think they're better than the Falcons. They got beat by 37. But
I would agree. I look at the Dolphins. It's who knows what quarterback situation we're at. Tua's had a messed up finger. They don't even know if he's going to start this week. I just think that the Dolphins, the way they play, just good defense. They're just kind of tough. That is the type team that is just a little tough on the Raiders.
Yeah.
To me, the Chargers, it's easier for the Raiders to beat the Chargers because they're just a little more buttoned up. The Chargers will make some
mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah. I look at the Dolphins and Colts games as just I probably expect them to lose to the Colts. So, to me, if they won 4 or 5, that would probably be their loss. But that Dolphin game, to me, is just sneaky. They're like a little bit like the Browns, but the opposite. Where we're like, the Browns might have a little more talent than the Raiders, but we don't trust anything they do. And what the Raiders do took advantage of that. I look at the Dolphins, not as talented as the Raiders, but more buttoned up.
Yeah.
Especially, I actually like the Dolphins. If you told me right now, who would the Raiders rather face? I think they'd much rather face Tua than Fitzpatrick.
I 1,000% agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Here's the other thing about that game.
I think that game's kind of scary if Fitzpatrick's a starter. Now they could win by 10 too, but if he's hot, fuck.
John, that game could be for the playoffs, right? If you've lost to Indy, that could be for the playoffs.
And we'll have to see. I mean, what's crazy is I don't totally discount the Ravens. They're out of it right now, but with Lamar getting back, we'll see. It went from me feeling very confident to me feeling like I'm not going to be surprised if the Raiders miss, which is crazy. But it kind of just played out. If they miss, it'll be on them. They didn't get screwed. It'll be because they lost games. And really, that Atlanta game was that buffer game that would have, because right now they would be what 7-3, or excuse me, 7-4. And you would just they can get 3 more wins for the last 5, and you'd be in good shape. It's why that Falcons game we said was so important. It's why Gruden propped it up, because part of making the playoffs is the margin for error at the end of the year. Last year, the margin for error for the Niners was whether they'd win the division or not. It was they were going to be the 5 seed or whatever by 3 games or 2 games. It wasn't. They were going to cruise to having the best wild card spot. So the Raiders are in a position, the worst possible position, where every game matters on a limited amount of spots, and technically there's an extra spot this year. They're a little lucky that they've added this spot, because without it, I wouldn't be talking about the Raiders like a playoff team, would you?
No, because they'd be. Well, here's the thing: they would still, because it would be Miami's the 6 and Indy is right there with. They would still kind of not control their own destiny, but they would still have a shot, right? Just because. Even now, Miami's at 7-4 and the Raiders are at 6-5. So if the Raiders beat the Jets, lose to the Colts, beat the Chargers, they're 8-6. Okay, Miami, who they'll play in a few weeks. Miami plays the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Patriots. So the Raiders, you figure Miami's going to be 1-1 out of the Bengals-Chiefs stretch. Do they lose to the Patriots or do they beat the Patriots?
I mean, they beat them. I would say they'd have a pretty good chance to beat them.
They'd have a good. Yeah, they could easily be 8-6, lose 2 of those 3, but they could also easily be 9-5, and now you're really.
You're right. I mean, the Raiders are right there, even if there was a 6 spot. But it gets a little more complicated.
But it's they're playing both of these teams. They just got to go do it.
But you said the Ravens have Washington this week, right?
No, the Ravens play Dallas on Tuesday. Okay.
So you would think the Ravens win, but I don't know. Dallas is a weird team.
Then they play Cleveland, so that,
they've kicked their ass before.
But they win.
It's not crazy to think. It's not crazy to think the Ravens all of a sudden you look up are 8-5.
Well, they play Dallas, Cleveland, Jacksonville, the Giants, and the Bengals.
There's a decent chance the Ravens win out.
Yeah. Now
they probably get to 10 though. I mean, if they can just get some guys back. Meaning their quarterback, right? Who is a healthy scratch.
Yeah, well, they get to 10 if they just win 4. They can lose one of these. They could lose to the Browns, beat Dallas, Jacksonville, the Giants, and the Bengals, and they're a 10-win team.
Yeah, I think the 2 teams that are in pretty good shape record-wise are the Ravens and like we've talked about before, the Browns, just because they're already at 8-3. I think the Browns are a lock to get to double digits, which isn't crazy. I mean, they got 5 games left. They're at 8. And I think when you look at the schedule and just the heart and just how talented, the Ravens are going to rattle off some wins. I'll be really, really surprised if they don't get to win 4 of the last 5. So we're talking the margin for error on the Raiders. Like, you got to win all these games, guy. I mean, these are big. We may look back and go, they would have had to win 5 straight to get in. Because you're not a lock to get in at 10-6, right? Depending on do the Brownies get there, do the Ravens get there, what's the Colts record,
and might need some of these tiebreakers too.
Who beat who?
Yep.